The team, which includes researchers from Japan's Nagoya and Osaka universities, says it has discovered 10 such suspected floating planets. The planets each have a mass approximately equivalent to that of Jupiter. The discoveries were made over 18 months, starting in April of 2006, using a special telescope at an observatory in New Zealand. The researchers say the discovered celestial bodies must be floating planets because, unlike fixed stars, they do not emit light. They say they found no fixed stars near these planets.
The discoveries are a step toward learning how planets were created and how they develop.
Some scientists expect that a NASA surveyor to be launched in 2020 will be able to capture images of these floating planets.
Imagine a planet floating freely through the universe, not orbiting any star. Well, astronomers think they may have found one, and it's only 100 light years from Earth. That makes it easier for researchers to test new techniques for examining the environments of alien worlds. It's possible this could be a small failed star, a so-called brown dwarf. Or it could be a true planet that formed around a star, but was kicked out in a slam dance of gravitational dynamics. Whatever it is, there could be many more of them. Several new studies point to a model of the universe in which rogue planets outnumber main sequence stars by more than 2 to 1.
Hello everyone, you're watching Radio RWJ, and today I have some news for you about the rogue planet, Planet X. And this has sort of been confirmed by NASA. First they said there's no such planet like that, but now they've observed a planet like Nibiru. They say it's unlikely to destroy Earth, but they're giving us little clues. Now I'm not sure if this planet is or may not, attack Earth or be, anything bad for Earth. I'm not sure about that, but NASA's confirmed that it exists. First they said there's no such object in our solar system, but now they're starting to give us an idea that it may be there. And this may cause a disruption in Earth, and no one's really sure right now what's going on. There's the Mayan conspiracy, there's the zombies attack that's going on, and level of earthquakes this year have been phenomenal. If you want to read over, I'll read it for you. The ancient Mayan calendar comes to an end on December 21st this year. Mayans, yes, intelligent people, but I don't think that's the main reason why the world will end, just because their calendar ends. But 2012 has been a really, really crazy year. We've seen earthquakes magnitude 9.0, maybe above. And if you have the earthquake app, you can get that for Windows and even iOS. You can see the amount of 6 and 5.6 earthquakes on the Richter scale that are happening these days. It's every single day you have one or another 6 or 5.6 earthquake, and the amount of stuff that's happened. And there's an asteroid DA14 is gonna come really close to our that's gonna come really close to Earth, and the scientists are saying it's not gonna impact, but no one knows yet what's gonna happen. I guess we just have to wait December 21st, 2012, because right now, not much. Lots has happened. You can't say nothing has happened this year. This is a really big global change. You can't say what is happening this year is a normal change. This is a global catastrophe. I don't want to sound like one of those really weird people saying, oh, the world's gonna end and stuff like that, but well, the facts are there, so I'm just giving it to the people, showing them what's happening in today's world. So yeah, so this has been a little video about telling you about that NASA has confirmed planet like Nibiru or Planet X, whichever you may. First they said it didn't exist, now they're saying it exists, but they're saying it will not harm planet Earth. But let's just see what happens. I know it seems like a really weird thing to sit and die but not do anything. I'm not going to tell anyone to prepare. If you want to prepare, you could. I'm not stopping you from preparing. I'm not telling you to prepare. It's a really confusing situation right now, so I'll leave you to decide. Thank you for watching. This has been RWJ26, and keep it tuned in to watch more videos soon.
We're going to get into some of that. Now, one of the cool things that David discusses with us here is instead of having to just take his word for it, he gives you coordinates on where you can actually see it for yourself. Mid-2017, he says we're going to see an eclipse with Nibiru. He has been able to take his background and transition it into research on Planet X, and has recently compiled an awesome book with a treasure trove of information. David, how the heck are you?
Very good tonight, sir. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. I appreciate you coming on here with us. I know that you had reached out to us a few weeks ago. You've got a really cool book coming up here that's going to break everything down with Nibiru. You know, let's talk about what you do.
Well, the way I got into it, I've always believed in following the money. About 5 years ago, I got into some research on the Pentagon black budget. And I don't know if you recall, but you probably do, that the day before 9/11, Don Rumsfeld announced at a Pentagon news conference that the agency was 2.2 trillion short. Money was simply missing, 2.2, not billion, but trillion. So having worked for a period of time at the Pentagon, I realized this was most likely black budget funds. And I did some investigation, and I ran across a couple of areas, basically the deep underground military base research done by Jesse Ventura, done by Phil Schneider, done by other personalities. And I realized, of course, that's likely the source of the lost money. It's black budget ops, and it's being spent. And why is it being spent in terms of these type of bases? So that's how my curiosity was picked, you might say. These bases, I understand, are built away primarily from geologic tectonic areas, but again, when Planet X passes, you're going to have new geotectonic faults established when you have force 11, 12, 13, 14 earthquakes. So I don't know how safe they're going to be. It could be a lost investment for those people. In any case, that was my basic introduction about 5 years ago, and then I got into the science of the topic. My understanding, and this is partly from Phil Schneider, I know he worked 11 years at Groom Lake Area 51. He says the black budget varies between 0.2 trillion and 1.2 trillion per year. I'm not sure when the inception started. It was absolutely going on in the late 70s and 80s. He says a couple of dozen of these may be reasonable for protection. I agree, nuclear protection. But the question is, why do we have over 130 of these? That doesn't really make any sense unless, obviously, Planet X is absolutely a fact, which it is.
Well, so, you know, 4 years ago, I remember reading an article on Yahoo News that claimed eventually people are going to be able to look up in the sky and they're going to see what looks like a second sun, but really it's a giant sun that exploded. I think they said it was Betelgeuse or something like that. So in my mind, when I read stuff like that in the news, I think it's, you know, the forces behind the scenes, or whoever's kind of orchestrating the media, prepping people, you know, subconsciously getting them ready for this type of event. First, it's just an explosion that looks like a sun, and then, hey, oh, it is a sun. So, I mean, do you have any physical evidence, like pictures that you can say without a shadow of a doubt, or files or white papers?
Yes, I do. In fact, there's some very good videos on the internet itself that are good photographic analysis. There's one called Multiple Suns Rise Over Halifax, Nova Scotia. Those are the keywords that a person would enter on YouTube to read it or view it. And you can see the sun. And then at the 3 o'clock position, you have Planet X. To the right of Planet X, you have a separate lens flare. Now, that doesn't reflect the lens flare, of course, in the water below. But Planet X is generating its own light, and you can see its reflection, therefore, in the water below. Next, I think a fog bank moves in, and it obscures the sun, but Planet X is still visible. A lens flare cannot do this. Now, that's one good example of something they could simply look up themselves on YouTube. There's also some good Davis Station South Pole videos out there. And there's, in my book, which is Planet X, the arrival in 2017 by David Mead on Amazon, I've done a video, it's on page 15 or 16 or so of the book, and I have a section called Photographic Analysis of Planet X, and I study one video which another analyst did an extensive study on. And let me just sort of explain what happened. A fellow named Glenn Vaughn on April 11th, 2015, was flying down the Pacific side of Central America. He's a professor, an ex-professor at California University. He took a 20 megapixel raw file with a Sony digital camera, and he confirmed the report by sending it in to a particular analyst for review. He took it through an aircraft window. Now, an analysis of the metadata indicated it was taken at 240 dpi, very high resolution, and the metadata further showed the date, the time, the GPS coordinates. I think it was a Sony DSC HX50V camera. In any case, using Starry Night Professional version, the video, which is referenced in my book and which is on YouTube, did a field of view analysis, and he determined Mercury is above, in other words, superior conjunction with the Sun, and the object in the field of view, therefore, is not Mercury. Mercury does not have wings, as does this object, and Mercury does not have the brightness or contrast of the unknown object. Now, the analyst also performed a gamma test on a paint program. Gamma testing shows if an object is hot or cold. Hot objects generate, of course, their own light like our sun. A lens flare would be a cold object. They read direct light, they don't generate it. So he started with a gamma of 1, reducing it by steps. At point 10, the gamma illustrates stark differences. At point 01, he shows the hottest, brightest objects on the video. He then reduced brightness to a value, I think, of -3 in contrast to +2. The hot objects fade in together, proving they're genuine. Then he ran a luminance test to determine the intensity of the object, and he determined it was behind the sun, not a reflection. There are actually wings on the object, which is clearly behind the sun. Now, he stated this is deeply disturbing. The reason is that gas tails of comets follow solar winds, and they're not visible until the comet's orbit is inside of Jupiter, at which point, normally the luminosity at that point of the sun makes the tails of the comet or the planet visible. Of course, Planet X, we all call it Planet X or Nibiru, but it is a dwarf star. It's either a red dwarf or a brown dwarf star. Now, the object, which is clearly Planet X by deductive logic process elimination, is therefore now between Mars and Jupiter. It's not in the outer reaches of the solar system. It can clearly be seen, especially from the southern hemisphere. Now, as of April 2015, therefore, the date of that video and the analysis, Nibiru is close enough to the sun so that the sun's light is reflected to the tail, making it appearing like wings. And there's one other quick comment I'd make, because actually that video had 2 parts. The second part was a lady who lives near where I do, Sanibel Island, Florida, Melissa Huffman. Now, you can look at this video itself on YouTube. I think it has more or less gone viral, and nearly 1 million people have looked at it. And this is a 2015 video. The object is very interesting. She pans the sky and shows the object and then the moon. Now, it's clearly a planet visible just north of the sun. Using stellarium and knowing the moon phases, comparing it to her video on the moon, you can go to the derived date, take away the atmosphere and the ocean, and you can determine the relationship of the stars to the horizon. So to determine the date, you basically just use moon charts, and the moon is well below the horizon in all dates after September 26, 2015. Therefore, the video was taken earlier. Now, September 2015 moon phases give us a comparable to the moon in the video. And if you look at the moon phases diagram to the actual picture of the moon, it has to have been photographed on September 23, 2015, based on moon phasing. Now, on that date, Mercury in stellarium is very dim, somewhat above the horizon. Also, I believe it's in a different location than the unknown object. All other planets are below the horizon. The video, therefore, conclusively and plainly shows an unidentified planet, or dwarf star, Planet X, of some significant magnitude quite clearly. So I can reach no other conclusion, and the analyst did himself, than this is a rare photo from this hemisphere of Planet X approaching us.
Wow. You know, and there's also speculation now, and I hadn't heard this until about a year ago, that not only is Planet X going to come our way, this dwarf star, but also a bunch of planets with it, like it's bringing in its own solar system. Is there evidence or truth to that?
Right. There's a number of videos there. I've seen some real good ones from the South Pole Telescope, and they indicate that there are a variety of moons around this. It's basically, as you say, it's its own solar system. A lot of people don't realize this, but binary, what we've got in our solar system here is obviously a binary twin. 76%, this is a fact, of all stars are binary twins. In fact, 16% are trinary twins. There are 3 suns, but ours has a binary companion, and it comes under the name of Planet X, Nibiru, and so forth, Nemesis. There are various names to it. But ours has a binary twin, and it's very common. It's extremely common, and it's basically what is approaching us. And apparently, from all descriptions, indications, reports, insider reports, photographs, and other sources of human and signal intelligence, it contains 5 to 7 moons around it. So it's a solar system approaching our solar system, which makes it extremely dangerous. The red dragon of Revelation 12 may well be, and I believe rather obviously is, Planet X, as is referred to in an earlier chapter of Revelation, I think Revelation chapter 8, in a similar manner. A colleague of mine at the university, one university in the western U.S., brought up a very interesting point, perhaps to cover up to my intention. Here it is. Basically, he said, the areas of the dragon anomaly have been covered or patched up by Google Sky in the past. But one of the ways to actually see what is behind this patched out area is to use a program called Skyview by NASA. Skyview, what that is, it's a virtual observatory on the net. It generates images of any part of the sky from wavelengths of all regimes, radio to gamma. You just filter it. Now, when you view these images in various filters, you can see the actual color of this anomaly in Virgo is red, and it does look very menacing, as it appears to have a face like a dragon with 2 profound eyes. It's very intriguing and quite strange. Now, just for your listeners, I'll provide very briefly the right ascension and declination if they want to go to Skyview. And here it is. Just cut and paste this coordinate. Here's the right ascension, 13 hours, 50 minutes, 44 seconds. Here's the declination, and that would be minus 8 hours, 13 minutes and 59.7 seconds. So right ascension is the celestial equivalent of longitude, and in the sky, latitude is called declination. So you just enter those coordinates, and then on Skyview you just choose the Iris 100 micron telescope setting, and there you are. You've never seen an object quite like this one. Now, the sign itself might be a sweeping parenthetic of that entire biblical 70th week of Daniel, which is a key to solving the most complex cryptogram in existence, the book of the Apocalypse. As to what it is, the astronomical scientific community, I think, is keeping a very low profile. And the question is, why did they ever cover it up to begin with?
Well, and not only that, if we could get into some of the more scientific stuff as well.
Because it's so close now, it's different. When it was first observed, probably the first time it was actually observed, it was observed in the infrared spectrum in 1983 by a orbiting Earth satellite telescope called the Infrared Astronomical Satellite. And this is when all those articles appeared in the Washington Post and the New York Times and so forth. And that's when, right before blackout occurred, there were some articles over a 6 to 12 month period of time when it was pretty much spoken freely of. And then all of a sudden, I think they realized the seriousness of the matter, and they went ahead and produced a blackout. Now, remember this, the blue daytime sky is going to hide Planet X until it eclipses the sun. But there is going to be a full disk solar eclipse right after September 23rd, 2017. This occurs, if you look at moon charts, on October 5th, 2017. And what happens, of course, during a full disk solar eclipse is the sky turns black, and that will reveal at that point, that week, in my opinion, the week of October 5th to 12th, if the book of Revelation is true, because this ties in perfectly with it, that could well be the exact month that we can first see it with the naked eye. So, in my opinion, combined with a predictive computer-generated astronomical model, the Bible, the book of Revelation, the Apocalypse, tells us that the red dragon, or Planet X, or Nibiru, appears after September 23rd, 17, but it has to appear before October 11th, 2017. At that date, October 11th, 2017, the sign in Virgo, the woman Virgo, will no longer be, quote, pregnant. Then the red dragon, or Planet X, therefore must make it an appearance before October 11th. So that seems to be a cutoff date. Jupiter, which is known as the planet or the star of the Messiah, exits Virgo, the Virgin, on October 11th, after having spent, I believe, 301 days or about 42 weeks in the, quote, womb region of that constellation. And again, after that point, the woman will no longer be pregnant. So that gives us a very narrow window, just to use the Book of Revelation or the Apocalypse as sort of an intel briefing. And the great sign of the woman is described in Revelation 12, 1-2, forms and lasts for a few hours. And according, again, to astronomical models, this sign has never before occurred in human history. It will occur once on September 23rd, 27. It will never occur again. And I believe it places us right at the time frame from that analysis of the Planet X approach to the Earth. I would prepare on or before the fall of 2017. I would conduct emergency preparedness. Of course, you want to be spiritually ready. You want to have a clear conscience and all that, but you need to do physical preparations as well. I think survival gear, emergency food, that sort of thing. And the reason is that, again, all this while you're going to get increasing levels of disinformation from the mass media until it's actually there. And then they're going to say, whoops, we didn't have any notice, we don't know what happened, and so forth. And they're going to run and hide in what they've already established. But, you know, the public is there and the public has to fend for itself. This global warming, as you've heard, I'm sure, is a cover story. The Earth is heating up from the core outward because of the approach of Planet X. During the 20th century, I think there were 35 volcanic eruptions in a typical year. Now there are more than 35 of these every single day. So basically, when X approaches, that week you see it in the sky, let's say it's October of 2017, you know, for purposes of discussion, at that point, it's not going to actually collide, I don't believe, with the Earth. The Earth is only 8,000 miles in diameter. It may pass 5, 10, 15 million miles away, but it has a very high magnetic attraction. It's going to have a gravitronic effect. It's going to cause the shifting of the Earth's crust. It's going to cause major volcanic activity. It's going to cause tidal waves. And when a pole shift happens, the ocean literally comes up out of its basin. So you're going to have major weather changes, seismic activity, and volcanic eruptions. Probably at that point, Yellowstone, the Yellowstone super caldera, will likely erupt. That could affect up to a third of the United States, cover it with ash.
Well, let me jump in here for a second. I'm glad you brought that up, because you can clearly tell a difference now with how hot the sun is. I mean, even if you look at the same temperature, you know, 75 degrees now versus 75 degrees 10 years ago, although it's the same temperature, the sun on your skin even, there's just more heat there.
If you go to the book of Revelation, the Revelation indicates that the sun is going to be hotter at that time frame. Now, the EMP effect, Planet X has a massive tail. It's fantastically charged. It's magnetic. The tail has moons and rocks in it. Now, this can down aircraft and satellite when it passes. It can affect the electrical grid. Now, of course, NASA, JPL, and the other disinformation sources ignore this data. But here are the facts. The Earth has a nickel and iron core. Now, this generates its magnetic field. However, the magnetosphere has large holes in it. The magnetosphere is a static shield. Now, under routine solar conditions, it protects the Earth from coronal mass ejections. But when Planet X arrives, we're no longer under routine solar conditions. Now, you know that the magnetic poles have been shifting towards Russia at maybe 40 miles an hour a year. But when Planet X arrives, the physical poles will shift. Now, this will create some hyper-earthquakes, tsunamis, and the shifting of land masses. So if you want to look at a few different states, one thing people can do to protect themselves is simply be in the right location when it happens. Now, there's a few states to avoid. And California is highly dangerous. It's composed of rock plates. Now, when rock is compressed, it breaks. And you'll see the crumbling of rock, of course, as its mass goes upwards. Now, the West Coast will have major catastrophic changes, synergistic proportions, tidal waves, high hurricane force winds, earthquakes on the fault lines, volcanic activity over the magma. So it's highly dangerous. And I think the long-term danger is in riding out the shifts for those who are living near the boundaries of plates. Now, cities without mountains as a backdrop can just be washed out to sea. You'll have broken gas and water lines. San Francisco, it's on the San Andreas and other fault lines. A lot of the population will be trapped. Water will overflow the city. Survival will be minimal. California is not a good bet. Now, the area around Arizona, on the other hand, the Hoover Dam probably won't survive because of earthquake activity. And you'll have rivers flooding, and areas within rivers should probably be avoided. But you look at Phoenix and some of these main cities. Arizona has withstood many a pole shift. The area around Tucson is safe. Florida is another very dangerous state. Its highest elevation is 105 meters in the Panhandle. And but as for Central and South Florida and the Keys, these parts can be devastated by a tide of water. Colorado, for example, is a safe area. The domestic division of the CIA is relocating to Colorado. That should give viewers many clues right there. And of course, one of the safest parts of the country is the Ozarks, northern Arkansas, southern Missouri, average elevation close to 1,000 feet, self-sufficient water supply, agricultural land. They'll do well. They're also isolated from large metropolitan areas, and they're well enough inland to avoid flooding through, tidal waves. So it's part of the preparation is probably geographic. But I would expect when it hits, when you see this object in the sky, you'll have 1 to 2 days to accumulate all of the emergency food and water you can. I would accumulate at least a 3-month supply. I would highly recommend people educate themselves, understand the whole picture, and probably take action at that point.
Hello people, and welcome back. It's Matthew, and it's now 9:28 p.m. here in the UK on the 21st of the 2nd, 2017. Again, I've been quite busy with work and that, but I'm going to do a video for you now to show you, see what we can find on different webcams as well around the world. So it's just interesting times. Now that tsunami warning, basically that illustration video was just to show you what could happen. They've got these channels set up for if we get a huge event, which will come. Now, looking at the skies as well in the daytime, the sun just looks absolutely different, very strange. Mid-afternoon here in the UK is very, very dark. We're getting these dark skies again. The sun is being covered by these grey, silvery clouds. And they're chemtrailing every single day still. Now these heavenly bodies are being hidden from us every day. The public are unaware of this. So we need to reach out to those people and just keep running the channels and getting this message across, because it's so important. But also respect to all of you that are following the channel. I know you're all there, and thank you for your kind messages and respect. And I will just continue carrying on with seeing what we can see up there. And also basically those red chemtrails at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning, spraying the skies as the brown dwarf Nemesis is showing its reflections. So the chemtrails turn red. Here on this image you can see it's a 6 a.m. image. So anyway, I'm going to go to the webcams now and see what we can see. Here on this webcam in Mexico as well, you've got this huge object. I mean, look at this. It's illuminating again here down the bottom. It doesn't move, it just stays there. It's a very strange shape as well, isn't it? Just here. I'm going to keep an eye on this and see what we can find. Also, you've got that dark shadow and the darkness on the ground. And it just isn't any other thing I can think of, but just a huge celestial reflection. I'm going to go to another cam now. Spotted this object as well on another Mexico cam. Could be natural, it could be anything that's known, but it looked very strange being in colours. And the way its position it is, and the strangeness of the shape it is as well. Just being observant and see what we can find up there for you guys, so it's very important. So I'm going to go to another image now and see what we can find. Here's another webcam to Mexico, and also you've got there the timestamp. That was a couple of days ago on the 18th, but can you see this? Can you see this reflection in the sky? This other reflection as well. And the sun should be further up, timestamp being there 10:02. Look, there's another object, another light source up there behind those chems, and dark clouds that we see every day, the silvery haze, different colour, textures. I'm going to go to another image now. The thing is, it's just important to be able to try and pick up on everything what's going on. This is a live volcano cam in Mexico. And you can see basically the plasma, the blue reflection going on up there above the clouds there. There is a huge blue heavenly body up there. We all know this. We've got huge celestial bodies up there, not just one or two. We've got about 8 or 9 of them. Some acting like other suns, brown dwarfs, and also moons and celestial bodies. Wormwood is up there, and also Helion and the moons. This huge brown dwarf star. And the blue Cancina, the red Cancina. I mean, the thing is, there's so much going on up there now. They're covering it every single day. And these volcanoes are ready to erupt. They really are. There's been reports of other ones, other volcanoes around the world as well. They're worried about that can just erupt at any point in time. I mean, look at these clouds. They don't move. They just cover up what's going on in the skies. Look at this cam as well. I mean, the people down on the ground haven't got a clue, have they? I mean, it's so shocking. I hope they do. I really hope that they're looking up at the skies, because this is just strange. I mean, look at the darkness here, the shadow effect, and also the plasma at the bottom here. Clouds being burnt away. I mean, this simulator, this object, is just reflecting so strong in the blue. I mean, last couple of months ago it was red, wasn't it? Now we've got it all really like this very strange blue colour. And it's so evident now that we've got these huge bodies up there. And I've been watching news media as well, and acting very strangely on the news media. I think they're panicking. Time has come now, you see. I've been watching those skies for the past few days as well. Some strange colourings on the horizons. Red, orange, reflections coming up from everywhere. Just very, very strange. I'm going to go to another image for you now. This Mexican guy on this webcam as well. I mean, he must be looking up and thinking how strange and dark it is. I mean, we're all seeing this now as well. The skies are darkening, very, very dark. We are being eclipsed, and also you can see that plasma coming from the simulator. I mean, these people must understand now that times have changed. It's too dark. We are being eclipsed. Look at those strange clouds, the formations, and also the horizon. We've got that red tint of nemesis. We've got a blue star up there with our sun, and it's reflecting now, isn't it? So respect to the Mexicans and all the people across the world. And that guy looking out, he notices it's dark, very dark. I'm going to go to another cam now. Here else on this Mexico Chapel Tech cam as well, and you can see how dark it is as well. I mean, we've got this red reflection here and this blue reflection. You've got the two reflections, and this is just basically a situation now. I mean, look at it. Very, very dim. And I believe now, every single time we do these videos and look at the different cams, we are seeing changes every day with the skies. Just, it is so spectacular how we are seeing these skies now. They've changed completely. We are definitely going into darkness. We really are. And I believe that 3 days of darkness is coming. So, as I say before, please prepare for this. Please stock up. And for those that have, it's so important that we stay together as a community, and also to acknowledge our thoughts and basically prepare for this very, very important time. Because things are changing now, very, very much so. We're going to flick through this cam, but you'll see a blue reflection. Now this blue reflection is getting closer and it's getting brighter every time. Here's another reflection as well. This is on the opposite side. Now, as I flick through the cam, you will see this blue reflection coming through. You can see this. This blue reflection from a heavenly body up there. Lightens up the sky. There's two objects up there. You can see this blue haze now in the skies. This is not from our sun. This is another heavenly body that's coming in. It's reflecting blue every day. Can you see how it disappears to the left hand side there? See this? Strange times. We have got a blue celestial body up there that's reflecting light everywhere now across the earth. I'm going to flick through this cam as well, and I'll show you that there's some strange things going up there in the skies as well. Can you see the light source on the right, and then you've got this change Look at the plasma, look at the size of this blue object, this reflection is coming through. Very, very blue. And then basically it goes up on the horizon. And then we get this strange sky, these strange clouds, and also these objects are up there causing problems to our skies. I'm going to go to a different camp. It's very, very strange now, isn't it? It's getting much more worse now, isn't it? I just spotted this object on the top left corner of this other Mexico camp. Just looks very strange, doesn't it? So I've zoomed in to show you this. I don't know what it is, but it's just, it could be, as I said before, many a times. And I'm just going to keep going to see if I can get the right image. Because I'm no professional, but I'm just out to basically seek the truth like yourselves, to try and find the right images. That does look very strange. And the thing is, basically, the sun's not come up or anything. It's just basically there. So I'm going to go to another image now, but it just looks very interesting. So, yeah, I'm going to go to another image. Here's another object that doesn't move when the sun's going up with that simulator. You can see this. Okay, now I'm going to speed down the footage as well. So it's here. Okay, it doesn't move. Now lens flare and everything else does move with this celestial body. Now if you watch this, sorry about the white screen there, we do white screen everything. Doesn't move, does it? It brightens up. Can you see this? These white screens. So anyway, so just doesn't move, does it, with the sun? I'm going to go to another image now, but the sun on this image is just absolutely wrong, isn't it? It's the wrong colour. There is huge celestial bodies travelling with it as well. There is other objects that don't move at all, that just stay there, but they just come forwards. So, yeah, we've got some crazy times ahead, I'm telling you. And also, more earthquakes happening all over the world. Strange weather here in the UK, and other reports around the world I've noticed as well. The charts, the NOAA charts as well, the SOHO charts. More activity of the sun, which I'll do another video on tomorrow about the sun. And let's carry on and see what's going on with objects on the Mexico camps. I'm going to go to another camp. This is a live Mexico camp. Okay, and I notice this as well. This object is here. It's reflecting, but it's very dim. Okay, so you need to look carefully with that. Look at this state of our so-called sun. This blue reflection coming from it. Very, very blue. And very dark on either side as well. Dark times we're going to. Skies are very dark now. This is another Mexico camp on the other side of Mexico, on the east side. You can see. Now, what we've said before, do you remember when we said that this reflection was coming from this side? And it was nothing to show on this side. But now the reflection's coming this side, to the right side now. Still, you've got this dark shadow on the right-hand side. Something is being hidden. Something is here as well. Huge object, if you can look closely at that. So, this is so real, this situation, isn't it? So very real. And looking at the stars last night, they were very, very bright, very yellow colour as well, very bright. And also the moon is very low as well, very low. It's not the same as I've seen it for many years. And again, we've got this greyness in the sky every single day, this grey haze, and also this blue effect as well. This is a reflection that's coming through. It really is. And the sun on this side, you can see the little bit of yellowness of the sun, but the simulator in front of it is still doing its work. Very, very dark skies. People down here on the ground, I wish them all the best, and I hope that they prepare for this, because I hope they're watching the channel as well, because Mexico needs to prepare. It's so important. And all other parts of the world need to prepare for this as well, because we really do need to prepare. It's so important. Here on this cam as well, and that's in Mexico as well, we've got this huge dark reflection on the right hand side of the image. Down on the ground is far too dark. This is definitely 100%, without a shadow of a doubt, we are in an eclipse with Nibiru. And the brown dwarf star is there as well. And our sun is getting darker. As I said, it's getting darker every time we show these images. There's huge objects up there that are dimming our skies. Also, other parts of the world, there is very bright skies. Too bright, it's affecting everybody. They don't like it. But here on this cam, if we were all stood there on the beach, okay, the Nibiru community was looking up at that sun and looking around, we would all know that there was something seriously wrong in Mexico. Those skies are dark, very dark. And also, again, the UK is dimming at 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Here again as well, you've got this blue light in front of us, and you've got this reddish shadow on the sea. It's not in the same line-up, is it? This proving this disk is in front of us, in the atmosphere, and there is a dark sun above that's been eclipsed by the heavenly bodies. These chems, and all this haze, and this dark shadow to the right. Now I've said about this dark shadow before, haven't I? I am very worried about this dark shadow, because something big is being cloaked, and is darkening our skies to the right side. Also, plant life has been affected by this because it needs its natural sun. So we're going to start seeing plant life disappearing very slowly, dying, and just basically fading away rapidly. It's so sad to see this, because we all need the sunlight, don't we? And it's being covered up by those chem planes, and also now the heavenly bodies. It's been said in the Bible as well, that there be signs in the stars, the moon, the sun, and also it says as well many times in the Bible about the wormwood, and also the sea will be contaminated, full of toxins. Very serious times are coming, and people are still ignoring it. We can't ignore this situation. Let's not be the one stuck on the fence by this. I have had loads of emails as well saying they're prepared for this. And we all know it's coming, don't we? We just do know this is coming now. I'm going to go to another image now to see what we can find. The thing is, it's starting to show on loads of cams now around the world. And also, Mexico cams are white screen and a lot of the cams. Earth cams have been closed down. They're shutting down the skyline cams as well. And also the Swiss cams, the mountain cams. They put adverts up on the screen and it's basically block what you're watching. They don't want you to see this. It's so important that we do acknowledge the truth, that we know that this is coming. Because here on this image, it's just definitely we are going into an eclipse now. I'm going to go to another image now, see what we can find. Here's another interesting moment of the sky on this cam as well. You've got this object that's something that's illuminating behind here. There's no redness on the horizon. The sun hasn't come up on this side. The thing is, you can see this. And then if you go across, you see a white, bluey object as well. Sorry about the white screen, but there again you can see this. I go across, and then you can see this going across. Here we are. Just behind these thick clouds. Very interesting. Anyway, it could be nothing, but these reflections are here. They really are here now. I've never seen them like this before. So we've got a huge red and a blue object up there. Celestial bodies are reflecting right now, very large. They're changing the colour of our skies, lighting up the land blue and red. I also noticed this object as well. You can see on the top right hand corner of this screen, and it's on the opposite side of where the sun is, and it just looks very strange. As again, it could be just something that's unmistaken of an object, but very strange. It's there, and it's on its own there. In the dark blueness of the sky. So I'm going to go to another image now. Here's another strange situation with that sun of ours. Sometimes I think, shall I call it the sun? Because it just doesn't look like our natural sun anymore, does it? I mean, watch this. Can you see this? The way it moves. Sort of morphs into shape, doesn't it? From that point there, and then there. You can see this, can't you? It just doesn't look like our sun. Our sun doesn't do this. It really doesn't do this. And also, the sky is very blue, and also we're getting a blue reflection from the simulator as well. Again. You can see this, can't you? It's very, very strange, isn't it? I'm going to go to a different image now for you. Now, I just want to say on this cam here, we can't see two suns, can we? Can't see the binary twin here, can we? Okay? But what we can see is this redness around the supposed sun of ours. It just doesn't look the same anymore. You haven't got that black spot on where the camera lens causes that. And also, look at the blackness on the either side. Just very strange. Now the thing is, I've noticed, can you see where this black reflection starts? And it's black here, and it's black across here. Now, the sun is supposed to be here. What's supposed to be here, okay, that's causing this reflection? Can you see the arches on either side? But our sun is stuck to the left-hand side. Now, what is here to cause this arch? Because the sun isn't causing it. This simulator isn't causing it. Because it's just in the wrong place. It's to the left. There should be something huge here that's causing this reflection. There's something that's cloaking here somewhere that's causing this dark shadow either side. They're covering it up. Something is being mirrored up there using high technology, satellites. So there's no reflection or anything. It's just a big giveaway because this object is in the wrong place. Can you see the darkness either side? I'm going to go to a different cam now. Here's a clip just to prove, okay? Now, when we get an eclipse with the moon, a solar eclipse with the moon and the sun, to the right side on the clouds, we get this red, blue, grey effect. This creamy redness effect, okay? Now, the darkening as well, we get everything just like this on this cam, proving that there is huge objects with our sun. Now, they can't hide the red and blue reflections. They can't hide it. They didn't expect probably this would happen. They just can't. They can't use their technology to hide it. All they can do is cloak what's being up there, what's up there now, so the public don't see it. So again, as I said before, basically it's just looking at the reflections and seeing these strange colours in the sky that we've never seen before. Because you can see this now, where the sun's supposed to be behind that cloud, that chemtrail, them chemicals. Now, it just disappears, it goes into nothing. Just all we see is a light source behind those chem clouds. The big giveaway is, I believe, in March, April, May, is to really be observant and look at the skies. Be careful of the sun because it can harm your eyes. But basically, look around them areas of the sun, and you will see Nibiru will be there, 100%, because it's with us now, because we're getting these huge, huge reflections. And this, these cams have just proven it's getting very, very dark. Just gone back to this Volcano Popularis cam. This is in Italy as well. And you can see again this blue haze, this blue reflection. There's no doubt in it now, is there, that there is something up there that's reflecting blue. It's getting white hot up there as well. You can see also the reflections here as well, being ecliptic. This red sort of rainbow effect sort of on the clouds and the burnt chemtrails. I mean, these clouds you can see here, the hydrogen's being burnt off them, and also the moisture and also the steam, the chemical imbalance of from the volcano. It's just basically all being burnt away. It's all being affected because our sun is burning twice as much now, and we are now being burnt and also getting heat and other rays from the binary twin nemesis, and all these particles are going down towards our Earth's core, causing more earthquakes, more pressure. We are under pressure right now, and we're wobbling as well. We're getting more erratic with the Earth, and it's very strange. But I believe that these volcanoes are going to become active in the near future, because this heat coming from these heavenly bodies are causing some serious problems to our Earth right now. And I just want to respect to everyone that's viewing the channel, because I'm just being observant, just like you. You're being very observant and looking up at the skies, and also know that this is going to happen, because we have never seen these skies like this before in our entire lives. Just very strange darkness in the skies. Strange clouding as well. In front of the sun we get these dark clouds that basically stop in front of the sun, so we can't see anything. It's just so evident. I mean, these clouds are being burnt away, they're doing nothing. Soon we're going to get some huge earthquakes where we are. Other parts of the world are going to see some strange times. It's all going to come to a situation. I'm going to go to another cam now. This is another live Mexico cam, okay? And I've never seen the sun in the simulator like this before. Again, we've got this huge blue object that's reflecting. And look at this span of darkness on the sky. And these trees have dried up. They don't look healthy anymore, do they? Because they're not getting the proper sunlight. As I said, we're just going to see plant life just slowly disappear. How long can they hide this from us? Very strange time. I mean, that sun, the object now just doesn't look like our natural sun anymore, does it? I mean, it's so obvious now, isn't it? Here again on this cam as well, very dark skies, and just doesn't look the same anymore, does it? This shape. This is lens flare, and also look at the ground here, very dim and dark. People need to know. People need to know. It's so important. We will know now that these are slowly coming into darkness. Very, very strange times. Here again, it's far too dark, and you've got that the object that's behind these clouds. The thing is, though, it's not illuminating the whole sky as the sun did before many years ago. It'd be so bright here in the skies. It's very, very dark and dim. So I'm going to go to another image now. I'm also going to keep an eye on this tracker as well for you guys. Okay, so I'm going to monitor this chart, see if I can